your friends in Planned Parenthood wanting to fact check his claims. Having spoken with you before, I know you to be generally in favor of abortion rights, but wonder if there are for you, as a practicing Catholic, any areas where that ought to be restricted or limits that you would favor.
Well, listen, I stand for the right of women to be able to make their own private health decisions. I stand for Roe v. Wade as the law of the land in that regard. And I have sat with not only women, but women and men who have had in partnership to make these excruciating decisions that are intensely private, often medically very complex, and certainly emotionally wrenching. And so I believe strongly in the dignity and privacy of women, their families, and in conversation with their God and their doctor to make these decisions. Now, Senator Toomey has been really decidedly out of the mainstream on this issue, not only very much driven to defund Planned Parenthood, but out of Republican mainstream opinion, one of a very small handful of Republicans who said, well, that's not even good enough. I'm going to shut the entire federal government down over this, and I'm going to vote against reopening the federal government over this. And I guess in terms of further evidence of how extreme and harsh a position he takes, when he stands with Donald Trump in saying that there's going to be criminalization and penalties, penalize the doctor, penalize the woman. It's just shrill and not anything I subscribe to, and I think again decidedly out of the mainstream.
Okay, I guess I'll restate the question. I mean, you support Roe, you support access to abortion. Just asking you the third part of that question, if you could, if there are circumstances under which you believe there should be any limit at, say, 24 weeks or past viability outside the womb. Because I mean, the discussion yesterday centered quite a bit on the circumstances under which third trimester abortions might be permissible.
Sure. Well, again, I think that Roe v. Wade has laid out the law of the land, and that's the law that I will defend. And look, as a mother, I will say that decisions that women have to make, again, together with their families, their doctors, their God, if an excruciating decision like that needs to be made late in a pregnancy, it's almost certainly because women, their families, and people in this democracy who are trying to have some privacy in the most intimate parts of their life. People talk about limited government. This is where indeed it needs to be about the privacy, the conscience, the faith, the medical advice of a person in this free country.
You've emphasized your kind of Catholic upbringing. You're still very faithful today. How did you arrive at your view on abortion, since it diverges so strongly away from your faith?
Well,
or the established faith of the Catholic Church?
Well, I believe in the dignity of the human person, and I hope it's not a newsflash to say that includes women. I also believe that when you respect the beauty of a beautiful human being, rhetoric's not good enough. And it means you have to take the tough votes to say, you know what, we're going to make sure people have health care. And you have to take the tough votes to say, yeah, people have to be able to drink clean water and breathe clean air. And yet, when a beautiful human being created in the likeness and image of God is putting in their 40 hours a week, they should not be living in poverty. That's what I believe.
Now, Senator Toomey emphasizes, and this is a kind of historical boundary between so-called pro-life and pro-choice, that life begins in the womb. When do you believe that life begins?
Well, look, what Senator Toomey says is that when it comes to climate change, he's not a scientist. And so he doesn't know, and what he knows is if we take action on it, that's going to kill our economy. But all of a sudden, when it comes to women's health choices, he's an MD and a PhD. What I believe is Roe v. Wade is the law of the land.
So you don't want to delve into the philosophical discussion about what
I've
life
just shared
begins?
with you what my faith is and what my celebration of the beauty that God has created and the dignity of the human person. And the dignity of the human person includes women.